What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Blitz Sports Media. My name is Blitzlink. I'm here with Dan and Brady tonight. We are talking week 3 NFL reactions, even though it says week 4 in the title. We're a bunch of idiots and made that as it is. We can tell the future as it goes. Well, today was a crazy day. Let's just start with that. The amount of block kicks we had, with the amount of games that went back and forward. I mean, the Packers losing the way they did, the Rams losing the way they did, the Bucks almost finding a way to lose the way they did. I mean, it was an electric 12 o'clock slate of games. The 325 slate was interesting for sure, but crazy day of football. Brady, I'm going to start with you. What game do you want to talk about first?
I'll just go ahead and stick with my team. The Patriots and the Steelers game today was there was a lot to be encouraged by, and there was also a lot to be extremely frustrated by if you're a New England fan, because Drake May, once again, aside from the fumble where he tried to do a little too much in the fourth quarter, I thought once again looked pretty good. He was kind of mediocre in week one. He was great last week, and I thought he was pretty good today. Now the Patriots running backs, three fumbles, and then you also had an interception that got tipped by Cam Hayward at the goal line, who had a phenomenal game. Cam Hayward and TJ Watt were their normal selves in this one, but it just felt like neither team could really get a lot going. Aaron Rodgers at the start of the second half threw an interception right to Robert Spillane. There were five turnovers from New England. It felt like a really defensive battle, and it looked at the beginning like the Steelers were going to coast. I mean, the Patriots defense without Christian Gonzalez looked really soft at the beginning of the game. They couldn't stop the run. And shout out to Mike Vrabel for the adjustments that him and the defense made down the stretch. But it's definitely frustrating seeing, especially the final play where Pop Douglas catches the ball, and if he just moves forward, has a first down, and he tries to cut back and gets cut down behind the sticks. And then they ask him in the post game press conference, "Hey, did you know how close you were to the sticks?" He said, I knew I was close to it. I knew I was kind of close to it. We were 2 yards away. Like, that's not what you want to hear. Not really high football IQ on that play, and it just feels like for this Patriots team. I said this, I believe, on our show in the preseason. It'd be nice if they can win 9 or 10 games and try to fight for a 7 seed, but it's all about the development of Drake May this year. They're not contending to go to the Super Bowl or the AFC Championship. It's all about getting better week to week and trying to ensure whether Drake May is or is not the guy. And I'd say that so far these last couple of weeks he's looked pretty good. So a lot of things to clean up, especially the one thing that concerns me with Mike Vrabel. Like a Mike Vrabel calling card is that physicality and disciplined nature of the defense. And the Patriots have been really penalized this season, north of 25 penalties through 3 games, and not what you want to see at all. Self inflicted mistakes. I think that they'll get it cleaned up. I think Mike Vrabel is a good coach. He was my preseason coach of the year candidate. Not sure if that's going to go that way, but all in all, really frustrating loss. First time, kind of a good thing. First time in years that I've been actually upset over a Patriots loss because I couldn't bring myself to care the last couple. But a lot to build off of too. I think I'll let Dan give his thoughts as well on this one.
Yeah, Dan, what
Yeah,
was
I
your
just put yeah, about this game. I put in my notes, I think a big turning point was Drake May had a bad interception before the half. I mean, he had a chance to get some points, and he threw an interception in the end zone. I mean, what they lose by today?
7?
7.
Yeah, so I mean, that's at least get three there. You can't. I mean, you just can't give the ball away at that point.
Well, and then 3 plays later, they fumble on the goal line as well. They had 3 turnovers in a 6 play span between the end of the second and the start of the third. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, what the heck, man. Yeah, I thought they
No,
played tough though, man. But I think at the end of the day, they really miss Christian Gonzalez. That's a huge loss. They need to get him healthy.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing like that I got out of this game was Patriots did everything within their power to lose this game. I mean, they turned the ball over so many times. There were so many mental miscues that put the Patriots in a bad spot to win this game. It's not like the Steelers. I think the Steelers defense did a pretty good job today, but the Patriots literally just were not there. And,
Yeah.
it's the fumbling problems with Ramondre Stevenson and, Antonio Gibson does it too. And then, you talk about that Drake May turnover in the end zone. Like, it's just the Patriots have to find ways to put the right guys in the right positions to succeed. Travion Henderson should not have been playing as little as he had until the end of that game. He was crying.
Maddening.
Like, it's
Maddening.
it's so stupid. They draft him so high and they don't even utilize him like that. and they started to towards the end because they
Dude,
were fed up with
it's
Gibson and
this
Ramondre.
it's this dumb Patriot way garbage of you got to earn your keep and the vets need to get the majority. Screw that. You pick this guy with the like 36th pick, give him the
Yep.
rock.
If it was a defensive guy, they'd be playing though. Like a defensive guy would be playing a lot,
Yep.
but it's an offensive guy, so it's like, oh, he needs to get involved. No, look at Cam Scatterbo tonight. He automatically inserts himself
Bro,
against one of the best defenses against the run in the NFL. Has a great
Josh
game.
McDaniel has
Like
done this for the longest time. I mean, I remember
He always does it,
he
yeah.
he ended up getting a lot of touches down the stretch in the Super Bowl run, but even Sony Michel, they picked Sony Michel in the first round, and he didn't get like consistent carries till week 8 or 9. Like,
it's maddening what they're doing. Like it's Travion Henderson is the X factor for this offense. This offense is going to be middle of the pack. They'll have some good games. They'll have some bad games. They'll have some mental mistakes. But Travion Henderson is the X factor in this offense. Whether or not Stephon Diggs gets healthier as the season goes on as a better player, whether or not the offensive line takes another step and becomes an even better unit, those don't matter to me. It's Travion Henderson and them finding a way to get the ball in his hands because this offense is not good enough in the current state it is. They're not good enough to, win 8 to 10 games this year if Travion Henderson does not get 18 to 20 touches a game and you let your best playmaker get the ball in his hands. I think defensively it's hard to judge them right now because Christian Gonzalez is out. They were much better than they were the last 2 weeks on defense, which is a good step. I know Aaron Rodgers didn't torch them, which is definitely a plus. The Steelers don't have a good ground game, and the Patriots did fine with that, and they've been pretty good against the run. So with New England, Travion Henderson's the X factor. With Pittsburgh, not much more confident in them after this game. This could have been a game where they make a statement against a team that's probably right around them, fighting for a wild card spot. They didn't do enough for me to impress me and move on. Dan, let's go to you next. What game are we talking about next year?
Uh, well, the game I watched the most during the early slate was the Raiders game. Raiders Commanders. The Raiders were dominated by the Commanders on Sunday. They couldn't block at all. Geno had no time to throw. Their offensive line stinks. I got a stat for you. The Raiders allowed pressures on 64.7% of Geno's dropbacks.
All right now.
Yeah, and despite the Commanders didn't even blitz. They only blitzed 11.8% of those times. It was just with 4, which was crazy. It just seemed like we had trouble identifying the Mike. Linemen didn't know what assignments they had. As soon as Geno snapped the ball, he was getting attacked. So it's sad to see. But for all fantasy people, I think Trey Tucker for the Raiders is I think the breakout is real. Him and Geno had a strong preseason training camp. So I think I know like a lot of his 2 of his touchdowns were kind of garbage time, but he should continue to have a lot of success this year.
it
Yeah,
really makes you think. Oh, sorry, Ryan. Go ahead.
I was all right. I was going to say in this one is the biggest thing for me is the Raiders' offensive line that you touched on. Them in a
Yeah.
game we'll probably not talk about. It's the Bengals and the Vikings. The Bengals and the Raiders have such a similar build for both their offenses. Elite talent, whether it's playmakers at receiver, running back, whatever it is, they have elite talent around the offense, but you can't utilize that talent if your offensive line stinks. I mean, Chase Brown today, 10
Yeah.
carries, 3 yards. Ashton Genty today, 17 carries, 63 yards. How do you expect to have a consistent offense if you can't get a ground game going behind a bad offensive line? So that is the biggest thing with the Raiders. Their defense today, though, just was not good enough. And the offense obviously did not give them great field position throughout the day. But I mean, the Commanders were able to run all over them with Marcus Mariota. Not ideal for them. And this is a statement win, I
Yeah.
think, from the Commanders, kind of showcasing, hey, Jaden Daniels is our guy, but we're still a good enough team that we can go beat a team like the Raiders that is full of veterans expected to potentially compete for a playoff spot. So I think it was a big time statement win for the Commanders. What do you think, Brady?
Yeah, I'll say with the Commanders, one guy that I did not think was really going to have much of an impact was Debo Samuel. I kind of thought he was a little bit over the hill, and he's looked good so far these first 3 weeks. Now, what I'll say with Debo, the key for him the last few years has been staying healthy over the course of 17 games. We're yet to see
Yeah.
if that's going to happen. We're only 3 games in, but Debo Samuel has no doubt made a positive impact on this Commander offense, and also this Commander defense really has not had to face a great offense yet. The Packers are very methodical, they're very efficient, but they're not the type of offense that's just going to take the top off of you, and we'll talk about them a little bit later
Yeah.
on. But we haven't seen this Commander secondary get tested by a high octane passing attack, and that's where I feel like their biggest weakness is, and where they will have the most trouble. So we will see once we get there. But it was an impressive win by Washington, and then for the Raiders, kind of what Dan was touching on. That O line is just really, really bad. And I'm not saying Ashton Genty
Yeah.
was the wrong pick. I still think Ashton Genty is going to be a great player. But it almost feels like to me, are the Raiders going to end up regretting not going after an Armand Membu or Josh Simmons or somebody to shore up that offensive line in an offense that wants to drop back, wants to get the ball to Jacoby Myers, Trey Tucker, Brock Bowers? Would it have been more wise to invest that top 10 pick in an offensive lineman? Time will tell. I still believe in Ashton Genty, but just in terms of need, it looks like offensive line was a bigger one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
think it's going to be a long-term concern for them. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, real quick, Ryan, just like I was talking to people last week about the NFL draft, like when we're watching the Raiders got a premier pick, we're like, oh yeah, we want a running back. So everybody
Yeah.
wants a running back in April. But when it's week 3 of the NFL season, we can't block. Just like Brady was saying, it's like, man, should we took a lineman there? So things change, man. It's like, oh crap. So it's we took the right player. I mean, Genty's one of a
Yeah, I
kind, and
mean,
once we
think
give him
about it though.
space,
Like
yeah,
Genty would have gone to the Bears at 10 if
Right.
Genty fell.
Did you guys see Ryan
yeah,
Clark 2 games into Ashton Genty's career saying
yeah,
that
it's
he
bad.
doesn't have the it factor? I get that ESPN. I'm getting more and more fed up with them. Just gonna go on a really quick sidebar here. I'm getting more fed up. I get that it's hot take and you got to get your clicks, but the garbage that comes from that network really just makes me upset. Especially when I saw Mike Greenberg say that Josh Allen is playing the quarterback position better than anyone ever has.
Oh, Jesus. Yep.
That's why you
Clickbait
gotta tune into
ESPN
Blitz
for you.
Sports Media.
Yeah,
That's
Clickbait
what it's for.
exactly.
Clickbait ESPN. All right, let's talk about one of the best games of the week, Rams and
Yeah,
Eagles. This game was absolutely crazy. The Rams took it to the
man.
Eagles early. We're exposing the Eagles offense that we've seen through 2 games. The defense just completely had them on their heels. If Matthew Stafford didn't turn the ball over on their side of the field, the Eagles would have been shut out in the first half. The second half was a different story. They opened up Kevin Patullo opened up the playbook. Jalen Hurts actually threw the ball over 10 yards for it felt like the first time all season. And
Yeah,
they were able to come back and pull this off. But the Rams, you have to feel like you had missed opportunities. Matthew Stafford missed 2 massive third down throws that would have kept drives going that resulted in field goals. One of them was a missed field goal. Cardi got 2 kicks blocked today. It was just a big missed opportunity for the Rams, and it felt like the Eagles championship experience, played in their hand. And, it's kind of a similar story to the Chiefs last year. Is the Eagles didn't look pretty today. They didn't look pretty last week. They didn't look pretty in week 1, but they know how to win games in the fourth quarter. They got the game to a 1-score game and they were completely fine. But I think the realistic expectations for this Eagles team right now are much different than they should be. I think their defense will be fine. The Rams are a brutal matchup for almost any NFL team right now with Kyron Williams, and you literally have Puka and Devontae who look amazing for them right now. But offensively, Saquon Barkley, 18 carries, 46 yards. You don't establish the run, you're going to have to rely on Jalen Hurts. And sure, he got the job done today, right? But I don't think that's a good thing that I want to bet on the way Jalen Hurts has looked over the course of this season, over the course of his last 10-game sample size.
Hey, he's
I
17-0 in his last 17 starts.
17-0 is what it is. Listen, I do not trust Jalen Hurts to go out and air it out and win a game. Their running game is not the same this year. And sure, they have the most talent in the NFL by far, but I am a little bit concerned about the Eagles. They're going to be number 1 in my power rankings. They're going to be number 1 until somebody knocks them off. But this is the first 3 games have been a little bit of a wake-up call for the Eagles, and I'd like to see their second half adjustment start in the beginning of games instead of having to get down for them to start opening up the playbook instead of running 5-yard in routes with a top 5 talent at receivers. So Eagles are going to be fine. There's some concerns, and I think they address some of them. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully, they can start making some of the right moves. Brady, I'll take it to you. What do you think about this one?
I was gonna say something, and you kind of touched on it yourself. I was gonna say we can't be hypocritical on this show because you sound like what I was saying about the Chiefs last year at this time, and you were
Yeah,
like, "No, we can't worry about them. They're winning the games. They're still the best team." And you were right. They went to the Super Bowl, but you pretty much said that yourself just now. Is like it's not pretty, but they're getting it done. They're still number one until proven otherwise. And I think for the Eagles, I think that this second half could end up really carrying forward because you know what happened was Kevin Patullo decided let's get the ball to our best player. I know people listening might not agree with what I'm about to say. Saquon Barkley is not the best player, or at least most important player on this Eagles offense. It's AJ Brown. Last year when AJ Brown played, the Eagles were 15-2, I believe, like 34 points per game offense. When AJ Brown didn't play, I think they were 1-3, 18 point per game offense. When you get AJ Brown the football, the offense is that much more explosive, that much more wide open. And AJ Brown, it wasn't like they were just getting him easy touches either. He was making phenomenal catches. He was making plays after the catch. And pretty much AJ Brown, it felt like he was the main one saying, we are not going to lose this game. When they got down 26-9, him and Jalen Hurts started hooking up 20 plus yards down the field 3 or 4 times down the stretch in the second half. And that was a really resilient win. That's an emotional, big time win by the Eagles. And you know that the Rams were fired up coming in. I mean, they dropped a whole like 5 minute hype video about coming in to avenge the divisional loss. And I do think, just like last year, these teams will meet again in January. It might be in the Link, it might be in SoFi, but these right now look like the two best NFC teams after what we saw from the Green Bay Packers earlier today. I'm not giving up on them by any means, but Matthew Stafford, he's been there. He's done it before. He has a ring. Jalen Hurts at this point, he's been there. He's done it before. He has a ring. We've seen some really good battles between these two teams the past couple of years, and today was no different. Jordan Davis, shout out the 330-pound big guy hitting almost 19 miles an hour on the run
No,
back. It's
no.
absolutely unreal. But no, I think the Eagles still
Brady,
best team.
hold up, Brady. I'm gonna say this about Jordan Davis. Me and many other Rams plus 3.5 betters are absolutely pissed off at you,
Yeah,
Jordan Davis. I mean, what are you doing? The game's over, my
take a
guy.
knee.
Well,
No
some
one
of us
wants
Take a
to
just
knee.
see
took
you run across the field and lose a bunch of money for everybody. I mean,
some
that's
of us just took
Oh,
Rams money line straight up, and we were already cooked as soon as the kick was blocked. But yeah, I mean, you said that the expectations are not the same for the Eagles. I disagree. I think the expectation is still to win another Lombardi Trophy right now, and I personally think even though the Rams played them really well today, the only thing that's stopping the Eagles from going to another Super Bowl is health. If they start having injuries, that's when I think the Rams can
Lane
jump over them.
Johnson's one to monitor.
But if you're telling me that in January both these teams are meeting up and both are healthy, and it's in Philadelphia, I'm still taking the Eagles in that scenario. But it's a long way to go. Big time win for the Eagles, though. Back to back
yeah.
big time wins for the Eagles. Wasn't pretty at all times, but they've beaten two good football teams the last couple of weeks.
Dan, how about you? What did you see in this matchup?
Yeah, just the Rams, just like Brady, just to add on what Brady said, Rams are one of the best teams in the NFC. They're one of the heavyweights. I mean, in the third quarter, they had a 91% chance to win, according to Next Gen Stats, and just unfortunately had a bad second half. The Eagles opened up their offense finally when they needed to. They started throwing to AJ Brown, just like Brady said, and they started to move the ball. So yeah, just to add on to you guys, I don't think this is the last time these two teams will see each other.
Yeah, kind of. One thing I noticed too is like I mentioned Stafford missing those throws and the block kicks, but Sean McVay had some bad play calls in short yardage situations that got them off the field too, which was surprising as well. So we'll see what happens. And I think, like Brady said, I think we see these two teams match up in the NFC again. And listen, the NFC West is legit right now. I mean, there's a lot of
They're
good
good.
football teams in this division.
Yeah.
49ers got it done today against the Cardinals. The Seahawks absolutely blew out um, the Saints today. So, listen, tough division. We'll see which of these teams eat each other alive going forward. But I think we have to talk about another division, the AFC West. Broncos and Chargers went at it today, and it wasn't pretty offensively for either side. Nick Bonito had 3 sacks today in the loss. Bo Nix was wildly inconsistent. Chargers still haven't found their ground game yet. What I see from this game going forward, and I kind of talked about this with Brady, is everybody did not expect the Chargers to be this pass heavy team. I mean, they started to show it at the end of last year, and this is their identity now. They're not really a run first team anymore, and defenses are starting to slowly make adjustments. Obviously, the Broncos are a great defense, but they made necessary adjustments. I mean, Justin Herbert today had 47 passing attempts in a 3-point game, which is probably something we never would have thought of Greg Roman as an offensive coordinator. But I think with the Chargers, they're very good on both sides of the ball. They have great talent. Their receiving core is amazing. I mean, the Keenan Allen addition is one that we're going to look back and be like, how
Yeah.
is he sitting on free agency for so long? And he could automatically slot in the Chargers. He might be a 1,000-yard guy this year. They're a really good football team, but I want to look at the other side of things where the Broncos just had so many opportunities in this one and they just couldn't take it. Their defense played well, and Bo Nix was just not up for it. Bo Nix has not looked good through 3 weeks now, and I'm starting to be a little bit concerned. I've never been like a Bo Nix truther to where I'm like, dude, this guy's a top 10 quarterback. He's legit. Thought he was solid and steady. And last year, towards the end of the year, played well within their system, got them to the playoffs. This year, he doesn't look like that. He's not playing well within the system. He's not accurate. He's not making good reads. And I'm a little bit concerned that what he's going to be able to do over the course of a season. I mean, the Broncos aren't necessarily, I don't know. I'm a little worried about Bo Nix. I think that's where I'm trying to go with it. I am a little bit worried. Brady, what are your thoughts on Broncos Chargers?
Yeah, Bo Nix definitely has not looked good, and he had a chance to hit really a dagger at the end of the game on that deep ball that was wide open, and he overshot it. He had a couple like that, and his deep ball has been nowhere to be found. He hasn't been good, and I know this is going to be, it might sound like a little bit of homerism, but I've never strayed off the fact that Bo Nix is not a better quarterback than Drake May. He's obviously not better than Jaden Daniels in that class, but I don't think he's better than Drake May. And I reflected that in my preseason quarterback rankings. I had Daniels, I think, at 7. I had Drake May around 14, 15. And I had Bo Nix around 18, 19. I think Bo Nix is a guy that if you let the defense play well like they do today and you can establish the ground game, he can do enough to win you the game. But I think we've seen, hey, Bo, we need you to go win this game. We need you to put together a drive. We need you to hit some tough downfield throws. He hasn't really shown that he's capable of doing that yet. And I don't know. I think that they did do him a little bit of a disservice, not adding any true weapons for him this offseason. Cortland Sutton's good. Marvin Mims is, when he hits, he hits. But I thought that they could have added a Y type of player instead of adding Jade Barron. I thought they could have added someone offensively in that spot. But Broncos defense is still absolutely elite. I mean, you got Zach Allen, who is getting up in there today, Nick Bonito. You got the reigning defensive player of the year in the secondary. Talanoa Hufanga looks like a great pickup. Dre Greenlaw still hasn't even seen the field and won't for an extended period of time. Really hate for him the way that his injury luck has gone. But this defense with Vance Joseph dialing up the blitzes that he does is still great. And that's why I'm so impressed with the way the Chargers were able to come back and answer. The Chargers, they struck first. They got up 10-0, and then they got punched in the mouth. They gave up 17 straight, I believe it was, to Denver, and then got down. They were down a touchdown heading into that second to last drive with 4.5 minutes left. And they answered. They answered the bell, and that's a staple of Jim Harbaugh teams: is playing physical, playing tough, and like just not quitting, not bowing down. I know it sounds very cliche, but they don't quit. And Justin Herbert is playing at as high of a level as I've ever seen through 3 weeks. I mean, that play to tie the game up, avoiding the sack, Nick Bonito in your face and throwing crossbody in the perfect spot to the end zone, like that was a Mahomey type play. I know that's a goofy thing to say that Chris Collinsworth coined, but it really was. And like that was like some 2018, 2019 Mahomes type stuff. And I agree, their ground game hasn't gotten going yet. But what's really interesting about that is even though the Chargers are one of the top 5 worst teams in terms of run stuff rate, they've gotten stuff to the line of scrimmage, I believe the 4th most of any team in the NFL. They're by far the NFL's best play action team. Justin Herbert is averaging 0.75 EPA per pass in play action. And you know why? Their pass blocking has been amazing. Over 3 seconds on time to pressure on play action plays. And it's because of Joe Alt and Zion Johnson on the left side. Shout out Joe Alt. I believe that he would slot in after the Slater injury at his natural position of left tackle and ball out. And he's done that. Today wasn't as great as the first 2 weeks were because it was against a great defense that draws up a ton of pressures from different angles. But Joe Alt's been phenomenal. The offensive line has done a really good job of holding its water on those play action passes. And if they can figure out the run game, that makes the play action even more dangerous. I think the Chargers are legit. And here's something interesting: Chiefs are hosting Baltimore this week. They could be favored with the game being in Arrowhead. I like Baltimore. Chargers, they play the Giants team that we just saw the Chiefs play. That Giants team does not look good at all. And if we got into a scenario where the Chargers win this coming week and the Chiefs lose, we're in week 4, and that essentially puts the Chargers up 4 games in the AFC West with the head to head on the Chiefs. I've already knocked out half of their divisional games. They're 3-0 halfway through their divisional play this year. Like, I'm not writing off the Chiefs winning the West. Until somebody takes it from them, that's their division, that's their ground. But this would be the first time in a long time that the Chiefs are on legit wild card watch.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think the wild card would be great for the Chiefs with how they've looked on offense through about, they played 12 quarters, about 11 quarters. They've played really bad offensive football. They look like a wild card team at best right now. So
It would be fitting if a couple years ago we got the first ever time that the Chiefs had to go on the road and win their games. If we got the first ever time that they had to be a wild card team and somehow won a Lombardi, that'd be crazy. It'd be another thing knocked off.
it would. I mean, listen. I think that all that matters right now for the Chiefs at this point is survive the blows in the beginning of the season. Like they are down right now.
But it's not getting easier these next 2 weeks either. Like
No, I mean they got Ravens, Jaguars, Lions to close the stretch before we know
Brutal.
Rasheed Rice and Xavier Worthy will be healthy.
then you
I
get the
think
Raiders, and then you've got the Commanders and the Bills.
I think listen, here's the thing though, like they have to survive these next 3 weeks. Like this
Yes,
team like the team is going to look completely different when Rasheed Rice and Xavier Worthy get back because they are two the biggest thing when you watch the Chiefs offense outside of just everything looking like a mess, you never see a player make a guy miss in space right now in the Chiefs offense, which is right now a short passing game, which kind of relies on a guy making a guy miss. And even in the ground game, you don't see Isaiah Pacheco or Kareem Hunt make a guy miss. That's not going to change for those guys. But at the receiver position, I mean, Rasheed Rice was one of the best receivers yards after catch in that 2023 postseason and late in 2023. Xavier Worthy, we know how good and how fast he has been over the course, of his career for KC. So it's like it just changes the element of the offense. And if you go 3-3 instead of 2-4, like that feels a lot better, and that gives them a fighting chance. Like they got to find a way to just survive this rough part of the season. And I think they're a team that gains momentum down the stretch. And if they're a 5 seed or a 6 seed, they are probably a team that nobody wants to see in the playoffs, especially if they're finding the right momentum. I think it would be funny that we get a Chiefs Bills wild card matchup. That would be
would be crazy.
that would be crazy, and Buffalo would probably be livid if that were to happen. I'm not gonna lie. Let's segue into a different game here. Let's talk about some good vibes going. Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson finally got some stuff clicking today against the Dallas
Best
Cowboys.
game of Caleb's career so far.
Easily. Listen, it was a clear plus matchup for both sides of it. The Bears defense did a great job of limiting Dak Prescott in this one. They made it uncomfortable. Obviously, losing CeeDee Lamb as early as they did not help,
brutal.
but Tyreek Stevenson set the tone for this game. Ben Johnson basically called this team out the entire week that they don't practice hard enough, they don't play hard enough, right? Tyreek Stevenson, they allowed Javonte Williams. It was a 22-yard run, and Stevenson rips it out of his hands, and that just changed everything. Like you could tell this Bears team was going to fight the entire day. The Bears offense came out and was explosive, hitting on plays that Ben Johnson was hitting on in Detroit. Caleb Williams, yeah, sure, he had a few throws where he was inaccurate. He wasn't really there was a few Caleb Williams type plays, but he looked really good tonight, and I was very impressed. Sure, the Bears are going to take their lumps this year, but this game is very encouraging for Bears fans who've had to suffer through a lot of really bad games over the past year. So, Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson, congratulations. You have showed some signs of progress in Chicago, and better days are ahead. Dan, what did you think of this game?
Yeah, just like we talked about in your video this week. Just relax, Bears fans. It's gonna get better. They played two tough NFC North teams. They played Minnesota and Detroit, who both have good defenses. And Caleb played the Cowboys today, or one of the weaker units in the NFL, and he lit them up. 4 touchdowns, 298 yards. He looked great. He looked control of the offense. Also, let's see, we got Luther Burden, 101 yards. He had a big score today, and then Rome as well too. In I believe the first or second quarter, he had a touchdown. So
Rome's
overall,
looking
just
way
good.
better.
Yeah,
Listen, DJ Moore is no longer that team's wide receiver one. I would be
yeah.
surprised
What's
if
up
they
with that?
took him off mid-season because, listen, not Luther Burden, but Rome Odunze is taking that step as a better receiver. That 2024 rookie class is elite.
Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah. I don't know. Yeah, that'd be interesting. I don't know if they can ship off DJ Moore's contract because they just signed him to a extension last offseason. So I'm not really sure what the
All right,
what the
I'll look
details
it
say
up.
about the contract. Yeah,
Brady,
but I
what were
thought the
you
Bears
thinking?
played great, man. Hey,
Yeah.
hang on, Brady, is this a let me tell you something real quick. Caleb's EPA per play is, point 0.5, 0.5. Is that the highest you ever seen?
I like highest I've ever seen in the game or for Caleb.
No, for in a game in general.
Nah, there's been a few from like guys like Allen, and I mean a couple weeks ago, Lamar in week one when they lost,
Mhm.
Lamar had .64.
Okay, alright.
But I think Mahomes even has like a .7 under his belt. But I think
Okay.
uh, this would be in the top. This would be like 95th, 96th percentile though. Like that's a great efficiency
Yeah,
game. And Caleb,
mhm,
Caleb played great, like you said. The tough opponents the first 2 weeks, and he looked a lot better today. I was just telling one of Ryan's friends earlier this week, Jacob, that it's not time to panic. It's not time to worry
yeah,
about
no.
Caleb Williams. I mean, you at least
Ha
give Ben Johnson a full year to evaluate where they stand as an offense, especially coming off of what they had last year in terms of their situation and the coaching to now. Like it's not an overnight fix, and Caleb Williams does have all the talent in the world. It is funny. I did have someone kind of like one of my mutuals on Twitter arguing me a little bit and being like, not to bring him up again. It sounds like Glaze because I keep mentioning Drake's name, but someone came at me and was like, Caleb Williams is so much better than Drake May. It's clear he's getting better every single week. Drake May isn't, and he was like, Drake May's 2-12 in 14 games, and I looked it up. I said, this was Caleb Williams' second win in his last 14 games. They're the exact same in terms of wins and losses lately. And I really do think that those two and Jaden are going to be the best in this class. I'm a big Michael Penix guy coming in, but he has
Ooh,
looked really bad the last two
we're
weeks.
gonna
yeah,
talk about that one in a
we're
JJ
second.
gonna talk about
McCarthy
him? Ooh.
JJ McCarthy looked really bad last week and looked really bad for 3 quarters in week one. And then we just talked about Bo Nix, who did not look good. So those are my three guys. Those were always my three guys: Williams, Daniels, and Drake May in the class. But we'll see. It is nice to see a deeper quarterback class after we kind of got a whole bunch of classes of crap for a few years, like 2021 with Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, Zach Wilson, Mac Jones, and Trey Lance, and then 2022 with Desmond Ritter, Matt Corral. The only good guy was Brock Purdy. We had Kenny Pickett in the first round. So it's nice. It's refreshing to have a really good quarterback class. And even 2023's class isn't looking great right now. Bryce Young's up and down. CJ Stroud's been straight up bad over his last 17 games or so. And then Anthony Richardson, he's cast off at this point.
Yeah.
That's it.
So DJ Moore has a guaranteed contract next season. After that, he has zero guaranteed dollars after that. So definitely a contract that any GM could probably maneuver. Bears could find a way to get out of that contract. But final thing I'll touch on in this, the Bears need to find a running back either trade
Yeah.
deadline or heading into next season.
DeAndre Swift is so bad, man.
It's so bad what I'm watching from their running game, and it's not because the run blocking's bad.
He
It's
can't
because
read a hole. He can't.
no, it's really really bad. I mean, every player that ran the ball today was under 2.7 yards per carry today. Really bad, and that's after Caleb Williams threw for 300 yards. Ben Johnson needs some guys to run the football to make everything a little bit easier for
Yeah.
Caleb Williams
Brees
going
Hall.
forward. He's not. I don't know if he's going to get moved, dude.
But even if
Even
not him,
That'd
I
be
mentioned this.
crazy.
I mentioned this 2 weeks ago. Tyler Algier in Atlanta. That was a guy. That's a guy I would
that
look
would
at.
be. I actually I heard some rumors about Brees Hall getting traded to Kansas City like the week of the regular season, and it never materialized. And that
Yeah,
was like close to happening. That would have been nice. Seems like they could have used them. Let's talk about the NFC South and how these games went. Obviously, the Bucks had a crazy game. They found a way to win. They have a lot of injuries right now, but the Bucks are a seasoned team that's been in the playoffs for multiple years. Seems like they're once again going to be competing at the top of the division. Falcons look like they might not provide much resistance. Michael Penix, this was his line today. 15 of 30 or 18 of 36, sorry, 172 yards, 2 interceptions. Whew. And Bijan Robinson and Nathan Carter looked like they had pretty good games on the ground. I didn't even know why Nathan Carter is getting that much looks. Did Algier get hurt that I didn't know of? I
I
don't think
turned
he
it off
did.
once it got to 20-0. I really
It
couldn't
was an
tell you.
ugly game. This was a red
Yeah, I think
zone
they just took
fourth.
him out.
This was the red zone game in like fourth corner of my screen that you just don't really pay attention to. But every time I look over, it'd be Michael Penix throwing like a disgusting ball with his feet not planted, anything to go. But credit to the Panthers, man. Like they were reeling. They needed a win like this. Bryce Young was not impressive, but like they did enough to win, and that's kind of a step in the right direction for this team after they looked lost through 2 weeks. But I mean, Michael Penix, man, I mean the Falcons have all the talent in the world on offense. They have a solid offensive line. They have Drake London. They have Darnell Mooney. Kyle Pitts has even showed a little bit of life this year. They have an elite running back room. Even the defense has been better this season. So it's like you have all this talent, part of that Atlanta nucleus, and Michael Penix just looks like this. Really? Is this
I
what we're going to give?
I hate to be one of
Yeah.
those the OC did it again guys, but I really think Michael Penix played really bad today, and he wasn't great last week either. But I don't like the offense that Zach Robinson runs in terms of playing to Michael Penix's strengths, because Michael Penix at Washington, especially his final year in college, was a drop back passer from the shotgun that threw deep and intermediate. Now you've turned him into a pistol, quick drop guy that throws short, throws underneath passes. It's not his game. And, I think he's not necessarily always been the most timing route kind of guy either. He's a gunslinger, and the Falcons offense does not play like that. And I also think the pistol looks hurt Bijan Robinson too. Bijan Robinson doesn't ever get the ball from under center. He always gets these weird like toss plays out of the pistol and stuff like that, and he can make it work because he's Bijan Robinson. But I don't like this coaching staff in Atlanta. I've never bought into Raheem Morris. There's a reason that he went over a decade without getting a second head coaching job after he was in Tampa. I don't think he's great. I don't think Zach Robinson's great. And it would be the Falcons' luck to get like the one Sean McVay disciple that sucks. But I I don't know, man. I think there's a lot that could go wrong. The one bright spot for the Falcons, I know the scoreboard makes it look like this wasn't the case. Their defense still has been pretty solid through 3 weeks. It kind of got away there at the end, and I know Penix had multiple picks, had a pick six, I believe, in this one, and it kind of got away more so towards the end. But this Falcons defense is getting a lot more pass rush than they were last year. You saw James Pierce the last couple weeks involved in some plays. Jalen Walker has shown some flash. And I think that if there is a positive takeaway, it's them or Bijan Robinson, but they've got to get their stuff together. They've got the Commanders coming up this week, and whether it's Daniels or Mariota, we'll see. But the Falcons are also one of those weird teams that plays up and plays down. They play good against the good teams, and they play really poorly against the teams that they should beat. And it's been that way for a long time. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Falcons come out in Mercedes Benz and actually look good next week.
I'll say this though before I let you go, Dan.
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins is just sitting there right now. He's just eating up money.
Trade him to
Living it off,
Cincy.
but that's what I was just gonna say. The bank Jake Browning is this guy's bad at football, and the Jake Browning Linsanity run in 2023 is even crazier at this point. I mean, Kirk Cousins should be a starting quarterback somewhere. He's not that far removed from decent production. Throw him to Cincy. Cincy needs an answer. Falcons eat up some money, find a way to get something for him. Just Kirk Cousins should be starting in Cincy. Dan, what are your thoughts on Michael Penix Jr. And this Falcons team
Yeah.
long term?
Well, I was going to ask you, why are they going to ship him off if the Atlanta might need him? I mean, he came in today.
No,
You
it's
don't think?
Michael Penix's team. It's
Raheem
not.
said that was just because the game got out of hand and they didn't want to risk Michael getting hurt.
Okay. All right. So here, through Sunday's early games, Penix was 31st in the league, EPA per dropback, 29th in completion percentage, and 28th in passer rating, according to True Media.
That's elite.
Yeah, he had a rough game against a Carolina Panthers team that's been shredded. Well, I wouldn't say shredded, but I mean, Kyler Murray had a great game last week, and Kyler Murray isn't a top tier quarterback. So, I mean, Penix it just seemed like he wasn't getting through his reads quick. And then on that pick six, he was way late. He like scanned the whole field, and then he saw the halfback in the flat. He threw it and pick six. So I would like to see that improve. But yeah, I don't think they're gonna pull him, but I wouldn't trade Kirk Cousins unless they're getting somebody.
Well, they would get a
But
pick. That's the biggest thing.
yeah.
I just don't think like Kirk Cousins sitting on your roster. Like you went to Michael Penix, you can't go back to Kirk Cousins. That's gonna ruin Michael Penix. So, like they're stuck with
I
Penix. So
agree.
you got to find a way to do something with Kirk. I don't know what they're gonna
And
wind up.
Penix has an injury history too. So
That is true. He does have a lengthy injury history. Let's talk about the AFC South, a division that's honestly very surprising right now. The Indianapolis Colts have been dominant to start the season. Jonathan Taylor has been unbelievable. Daniel Jones' career has been revived. I don't understand the Shane Steichen hate that has gone on over the past 2 years. I mean, the
It's
guy,
all Richardson's fault.
yeah, the guy is really good at coaching, and like the Eagles' offense since he left hasn't really reached the heights that they once did. And
No.
he actually had Jalen Hurts playing that MVP level in 2022 when he was there, right? Daniel Jones looks amazing right now. Michael Pittman Jr. looks really good for them. Their defense is not like insane, but it's good enough. And then you got the other AFC South teams, the Jaguars, who continue to like. The Jaguars are funny. They're 2-1 right now, but they say like, "Hey, the game's close. Here you go. You can have it though." Like, "Oh yeah,
They're grinding it out for
yeah,
sure.
they're making it as hard as possible to win these games, but their defense has been much better. But that Houston Texans 0-3 team. This is what happens when you
Put a
don't build
fork
an
in
The
them.
offensive
line.
line. You don't build an offensive line around your quarterback, you're screwed. It's a clear example of what's going on in Houston. And this is a team with an elite defense too, and they can't find a way to win a game because their offensive line is that bad. I mean, watching a Houston Texans game is just so miserable. They'll get like a first down or two, and then they'll just get sacked. They'll have a rush of 2 yards, and I'll be like, dude, this is the
You want to
same.
know what's really frustrating if you're a Texans fan is all three of these games have been winnable on the last
Yep.
series of the game. Week
Yeah,
one,
brutal.
you turn the ball over. Braden Fisk forces a fumble in LA. It's okay. It's the Rams. It's cool. Last week, Monday Night Football, home opener against the Bucks. You take the lead on your last drive, and then the defense allows Baker Mayfield to convert a fourth down on the run and then go
Yeah,
down
they
the
had
field
him.
and score with 4 seconds left. And then today, you let the Jaguars score late, but then you're driving to tie it up. CJ Stroud gets hit, puts it up in the air, and it gets picked. This is a team that I had going 7-10 and missing the playoffs and not winning this division, but I didn't expect for it to look this bad on the offense just because they still had Nico Collins and CJ Stroud, mainly those two. And I thought at least one of these rookies from Iowa State would be able to do something. They really have not been able to this point. And that defense, it stinks because the defense has legitimately been really good in all three of these games with Derek
Yeah.
Stingley and that defensive front that they have. And I hate to say it, but with how quick the leash is in the NFL, if the Texans keep playing like this, D'Amico Ryans could be on a hot seat, and D'Amico Ryans is a good coach. He takes care of his unit. The defense has been really good ever since he got there, and it might not matter because they might be like, hey, we saw what we had a CJ Stroud in 2023. We haven't built an O line. We got to go get an offensive guy. You got to get out of here. So we'll see what happens with them. But the Jags, kind of like you said, it hasn't been impressive yet, and they still haven't really gotten Travis Hunter involved the way I would like for them to. And I feel like his usage has been pretty weird. But they're winning games. They're 2-1, and I had them as the only sub 500 division winner in the NFL heading into the season. Colts might go above 500. Colts might win 10 games and win this division. I don't know. They haven't been tested yet per se, but I had the Jags going 8-9 and winning the South. 8-9 might not be enough with the way the Colts are playing, but I Jags honestly should be 3-0. That's the thing. Jags are playing way better than they were at this point last year. Liam Cohen has already started to establish a culture and an identity there, and the defense looks way better than they
Yeah.
did last season. And a lot of that is Trayvon Walker starting to come into his own. Him and Josh Hines Allen is a good duo off the edge. If you get Travis Hunter going at corner, you might have a bright future defensively. But just to spin back on Indy real quick before I let Dan take this over. I can't believe it, honestly. Like Daniel Jones, it's one of the coolest stories right now in the NFL. This guy was cast off from the Giants. You know how the New York fans are. They wanted this guy like dead, and then he goes to the Vikings and kind of just chills and collects a check for the last few weeks of the season. And then the Colts are like, okay, we'll pick you up. We'll have this quarterback competition with Anthony Richardson. AR, if you can't beat Daniel Jones out, who can you beat out? Oh wow, he actually beat him out. I guess we'll give him the start. We're coaching for our jobs and we trust this guy a little more. Oh wait, oh shoot, we're 3-0. We have top five offense in the NFL. What's going on? So it's crazy. I believe. Am I correct that they have the Rams in their upcoming game? Their next game up.
Who, the Colts?
Yes.
I was actually looking this up because I wanted to say the Jaguars schedule. They play the Rams next, and
Yeah.
they go and play the Raiders and Cardinals are the next three.
Okay, so they've got at least two of those three are winnable. I don't know if I think they're going to beat the Rams. I would pick the Rams just right now on the spot. But I mean, this team could be looking at 4-2, 5-1, and it's funny because one of my coworkers is a diehard Colts fan, and he's actually not necessarily thrilled with how this is going because he's like, dude. we're gonna be too good with Daniel Jones, and we're gonna bring him back to be the quarterback next year, and he's gonna be like the future, and we're not gonna go anywhere. So we'll see. But I mean, Jonathan Taylor, Michael Pittman, future Patriot Alec Pierce, like they're all balling out. So
I'll say this before I let it go to you, Dan. The Jaguars are 2-1 right now. That loss against Cincinnati is huge. Their next four games are 49ers, Chiefs, Seahawks, Rams. That's a brutal
Brutal.
four-game stretch right
if you
there.
can hold your water and go 2-2, that's a success.
Oh, 100%. That would be a massive win for the Jaguars if they walk out of that 2-2 because their schedule eases up as the season goes on. But that four-game stretch, like,
Dude,
it's
for
going
a
to be a
last
big.
place team, that's brutal.
That
Or
is
sorry, they were a third place team, but still.
It is really bad for them to get that stretch. Dan, what are your thoughts on the AFC South and how it's shaping out to be?
Yeah. Well, quick shout out. The Colts finally had a punt in today's game.
They
That's
did.
that's
They
what's
did punt.
surprising. Yeah, they didn't. They weren't perfect today, but they still won 41-20. Yeah, man, the AFC South's fun. Like we all thought, the Colts are 3-0. I mean, it's amazing. And then,
I had the
I mean, if
Colts
they
winning
go,
3 games all season, man.
yeah, right. I mean, dude, if they go into LA next week and beat the Rams, I mean, the bandwagon's gonna be full. Because I
Hmm.
mean that'd be a huge win for them. And Jonathan Taylor's looked great. I mean it's only 3 weeks, but maybe he's leading offensive player of the year. Jonathan Taylor.
Jonathan Taylor
I
actually might
could
be
see
the
that.
offensive player of the year to start the year. Yeah.
Yeah, it's still early, so plenty of time. But yeah, man, the Colts look good. Shane Steichen's a good coach. Daniel Jones, man, he doesn't flinch under pressure. He was, I mean, he didn't have an offensive line in New York, so if the Colts
Right.
leak a little bit, man, he handles it well. He scrambles, he finds a guy downfield. So
How
it's looked
upsetting
great.
would that be as a Giants fan if you see Saquon last year pop off after leaving, and now you see Daniel Jones go crazy after leaving? It just shows you your organization stinks.
You know what? One
Yeah,
fan
man, it's
base I
brutal.
think regrets letting him walk is the Vikings. I think the Vikings might regret
Mm,
letting.
Man, hot
interesting.
take, hot take.
I think they might regret letting Daniel
I could
Jones
see it
walk
though. I could see it.
because, like, I mean, Carson Wentz stepped in today, and obviously, like, 48 points are contributed by that defense. But like, he played fine. He played within the system well, did everything they needed to win this game, right? Daniel Jones is looking like this with the weapons the Colts have and Shane Steichen. Imagine what he could have been doing with Kevin O'Connell, the offensive line they built there, Justin Jefferson, Jordan Mason, Aaron Jones. Like, everything was in place for Daniel Jones to be successful in Minnesota. And obviously, JJ McCarthy, they had to give him the opportunity because they spent that
Yeah,
draft capital on him. But I mean,
yeah.
we could be looking back in 3 years and be like, the Colts found their franchise quarterback and the Vikings just let him walk.
Hey, I wanna spin this to a different angle real quick. I know we're kind of nearing the end of the show, but the NFC North, go over there and take a look. Packers today, really bad loss to the Browns. But you take a look at this Browns defense and how they've
They're
played
good.
outside
Mhm.
of last. Here's what I'm going to tie this to a point with a different divisions team. Week one, they completely shut down Joe Burrow and the Bengals offense. And I know the Bengals are kind of one of those inconsistent teams, but you can bank on that offense being an explosive offense with Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins and Chase Brown all in there. And they got absolutely stymied by this Browns defense. And then today, Green Bay Packers absolutely stymied 10 points against this Browns defensive front, secondary led by Denzel Ward. A little bit of it was garbage time, but last week Ravens 40 something points on these guys. Ravens at this point might have the most explosive offense in the NFL because the Browns defense looked really good in these other two games against really good high powered offenses. And Lamar and the Ravens took it to them, especially in the second half last week. They had 40 something points against the Bills, even though they lost that one. I would not be surprised at all to see them come hang 35 plus up tomorrow night against the Detroit Lions. And that's why, just a little sidebar here before we get into the Packers, when it comes to the Ravens, I know we'll talk about them tomorrow after their game. I would say, even though they lost an all time classic Sunday night football game in week one, don't panic on them. To me, I think they're still going to end up being the best team in the AFC because Josh Allen's amazing and the Bills are 3-0, but the talent that the Ravens have far outweighs what Buffalo has, and that's why I'm still banking on these guys as my best team in the AFC. Chargers, Chiefs, Bills, all behind Baltimore to me. And I just wanted to tie that in because that was my takeaway was, wow, this Browns defense might be really, really good. And they got
They're good.
smoked by Baltimore last week.
I'm going to spin it the other way. I think the Packers offense might not be as good as many people think. I mean,
Mm.
they have had spurts within 2 games where, they score, 13 points in like 3 drives or 2 drives, and they're getting that type of production. But there have been multiple drives in the middle of games with their first 2 games where they stalled out. They had chances to put both those games away early, and they were somewhat closer, but not like within reach type of games with how their offense was playing. They just haven't had to do a lot because their defense has been
I
so
mean,
good.
LaFleur's always had a high efficiency, low volume type of offense, though, with a lot of high lows, a lot of RPO, a lot of running the ball.
The thing is, though, is like at the end of the day, it's how many points do you have up on the board and how are you separating against your opponents. This is the first time we've seen a LaFleur-led team have an elite defense, right? And their offense is not doing enough to this point to separate when they need them to separate. And I don't think their run blocking is that good this year. Josh Jacobs has not been hyper efficient. This ground game hasn't been working as well as it has. And then you have Jordan Love on top of it in this passing game that really hasn't impressed me that much. I don't think they're playing very well. I don't think this group of weapons, I think when Christian Watson comes back, it provides a little bit different of an element. But I mean, it goes to show you is having a bunch of guys in a receiver room that, don't necessarily take over. And we don't know if Matthew Golden's going to eventually be that guy or not. But they don't have like a guy that's on third down where Jordan Love can go out and throw to on a majority of times, like an Amon-Ra St. Brown for the Lions. Like they don't have that guy that continues to move the sticks if it's 3rd and 5 instead of 3rd and 2, and you can't just hand it to Josh Jacobs. That part concerns me with this Packers team. And I think that's what will hold them back potentially in the playoffs is this offense just might not be good enough. I don't know if Jordan Love can continue to elevate his play. I mean, this stat line today is crazy. 18 of 25 for 72 yards. That's what he came out today and did. Or sorry, 183 yards. But
I'm gonna
still,
say he's a
yeah. I
shit.
was looking at his completion percentage, but still, like the thing is it works in Philadelphia when Jalen Hurts is able to throw for 175 yards when the ground game is playing at an elite level and stuff like that, and they have the talent that they do. The Packers do not have that type of talent around Jordan Love that they can continue to rely on 185-yard performances, 200-yard performances like that. I want to
I'm
see
not
this.
worried about him though.
Yeah, I'm not
I'm not
worried either.
worried about him, but I think it's a concern that could prevent them in the future from winning a big time postseason game.
I also think that historically, with Matt LaFleur at the helm, the Packers have always been a team that's ascended once we've gotten into mid October and on.
Through 3 games, right? Let's see here. Jordan Love has 188 passing yards week 1. Week 2, he had 292, and that was in the first half when they had 2 Tucker Craft massive plays. And then this past week, it was what it was. I don't know. I think it's a
Hey,
smaller concern.
663,
What do you say?
663 passing yards.
Through 3. Does that
3
sound
games.
about right?
it's
Yeah.
220 a game. And I'm not saying when I say this, I'm not saying Jordan Love is Aaron Rodgers or anything, but we saw Aaron Rodgers win back-to-back MVPs in this scheme doing the same thing. Like I said, high efficiency, low volume, 230 pass yards a game, but 3 touchdowns and no interceptions. Like the kind of stuff we saw those first 2 weeks. So I think today's a bump in the road, but Packers are still my pick to win the NFC North, especially with the head-to-head win right now over Detroit early on. Vikings, I don't trust their offense down the stretch. Bears aren't there yet. It's going to be a 2-team race in the North, and the Packers have the upper hand, and they have the best player in the division in Micah Parsons. So I'm still rolling with them. Embarrassing loss for them today. Tough loss, but I think they'll shake back.
Yeah, and they have a get right game next week. They play the Cowboys on Sunday night on the road. So we're gonna
Oh,
see
that
how
one.
how
That
bad
Oh yeah,
this
one's
that's going to
offense
be
is.
juicy. Micah Parsons. If I'm taking his over on sacks, if there's a player prop for that.
There,
Yeah.
there 100% will be. All right. Well, hey, listen, drop your comments down below what your biggest reaction was here for week 3. Make sure you hit that subscribe button for more Blitz Angle content. Me, Dan, and Brady will catch you guys next time.
Yes, sir. We'll see y'all later.